is the North End. This is the North End.
It's the North End Reviews and Previews show. It's the quick intro. Hello, North Enders. How is everybody doing today? I am with JP and Azaz. Gentlemen, good to see you both. I'm going to get our names on screen here because we don't have them up so people can see who's who. I don't think it's going to be difficult to figure that out, but got to do it anyway. Azaz, good to have you back, brother. I know that you were going through some stuff. I'm glad you're back with us, and of course, result today, result at the weekend. Result at the weekend probably didn't help that much, but the result today might have gave you a little bit of hope. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, mate, good. I really enjoyed being on Tottenham on Tour, the sister channel last week, though. And then actually, the family thing happened literally right after that. Like, as soon as I hung up, I got a text from my cousin. Like, it couldn't have been more like I hung up here and my cousin had texted me. So, but yeah, no, all's good. I'm sure we'll get into the two games, but still fairly content with where we are. Like, you know me, I didn't have us down as favorites over the last couple of months, and we were chasing, so to speak. So
yeah, chasing but catching as well. I mean, they were 14 points above you at one point. So to get to where you are now and be in that conversation at the three games left is pretty impressive. JP, I know you're miserable and don't even want to be here, but you're just filling in the numbers. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, how you doing, mate? You okay? You getting through the day?
I'm just gonna keep drinking my little alcoholic White Claw.
Whatever gets you through it, buddy. Whatever gets you through it. Difficult day too. We're gonna get into a little bit of the some of the refereeing, some of the questionable decisions in both of the Liverpool games, because I think it is a conversation to be had, and I think Azaz will love to hear us bitch to him about it, even though they're gonna still, fighting for the league. JP, other than the football, are you okay? Everything
California. Take away football, California's weather is just absolutely unbelievable. 75 every day. It's glorious.
I will be there next week, by the way. I'll be in San Jose on Saturday. I'm flying in. So
nice. We're pretty close to being actually legit out of water. So that'll be really fun to figure out what our third most populated state in the United States does when they figure out they don't have any natural water.
Where you're gonna have to move to Ontario, Canada.
I love
more water than anybody else on the planet at the moment, and it's not warm. Sorry.
Well, I don't want that then.
You'll have to suffer in the end. All right, lads. Well, let's get into the football. We're gonna do some reviews and previews here. So we're gonna bust out the first slate here, starting with what looks like Brentford and Southampton. A little small here. I have to use my squint to see who played who. Brentford come back after having a couple pretty bad losses. One against United 3-0, beating Southampton 3-0. Not a heck of a lot to talk about here. I mean, two teams that mid-table, kind of doing what you'd expect them to do at this time of the season.
The only thing I want to chip in, apparently at full time, the Southampton away fans, which that means something, started chanting, "You don't know what you're doing," and you're getting fired in the morning to Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Hasenhüttl? Who said that?
Yeah, the Southampton away fans, because they were away, and everyone knows when away fans turn, shit gets ugly quick. They have a new owner there at Southampton this year, but apparently the guy's like, "Hey, it's business as usual. Keep the steady ship." And they're losing some big time players. Broja's going, and they've replaced a few guys, which is not quite enough. I'm really interested to see what they do this summer.
I'd love to get Ward Prowse. He'd be a steal. Yeah, fantastic player. Is any thoughts on Southampton and Brentford, and just what JP just mentioned as well?
Right. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that that's what they were saying.
I didn't know either.
I think, I feel like, in terms of squad strength, I almost feel like they're not exactly stacked beyond.
Yeah, their investment's been poor, and they don't have that youth system that used to feed them for so long, and they would bring them through and sell them, and bring them through and sell them, and that's kind of gone out the window recently, hasn't it?
100%. Yeah. So no, I feel like Brentford have had this in them, in and out all season, but since they've been safe, they've had a couple of good results. The 3-0 against Southampton is probably encouraging for me as a Liverpool fan, because we have them next, and it might. I mean, if it comes to it, it might come down to goal difference, so maybe we can pad
smash a lot. Yeah, you guys are pretty tight on goal difference. We'll get into the title bit, but it's very close, right? It's I think a goal or two is the difference between the two, which in itself is impressive. That both teams are so equally good. Towards the end of the season, you usually see one at least pull away, but not the case. We've got another game that Aston Villa beat Burnley 3-1. Good result here for Villa. Good performance from Villa, especially coming back off of, what was it, 4 games going on without a win?
It was actually 5 games without a win. It was 4 losses and a draw. We really needed the win. We got the win. We really handled Burnley. They didn't really stand a chance. They had 1 or 2 little opportunities, but nothing great. Once Tarkowski went out early in the second half, we were already 2-0 up. They kind of just lost momentum. They lost kind of their leadership, and it was very clear because Villa grabbed the reins. It looks like he might be out the rest of the season, so I don't know if Burnley's going to get another win this season.
They got us next.
Yeah, they got Ben Mee, who's also out. They got quite a few players out, and we play them again like in a week and a half, in 10 days. So yeah, it's going to be. Hopefully, Villa can get 2 wins from Burnley in a 2-week span.
Yeah, you should do, right? I mean, I would be surprised if you didn't. And like you said, depleted defensively, and a team who focuses on their defense, who needs their defense to be relevant in any game. And 2 of those big players are out with injuries for the rest of the season. Doesn't bode well for the relegation situation, which I think been such a flip flop, and we'll get to some of the scorelines that changed that over the weekend. Kind of crazy how it was like, oh, Everton, now Leeds, now Burnley. I'm feeling like Burnley are falling right back into that.
Yeah, everyone's all like, Leeds isn't going to win another game this season. They're going to get battered. It's like, I don't think Burnley is winning another game this season.
Yeah, I don't either. Here's a shocker. This one was a bit nuts. Chelsea draw at home 2-2 to Wolves, comfortably winning this game at one point, and Wolves come back into it and they score 97th minute winner post extra time, with a ridiculous moment for Chelsea to draw points again in a race where they had seemingly sewed up third. As looking at Chelsea's fall from grace, losing to a Wolves, not losing, it feels like a loss, drawing to Wolves 2-2 in the last minute, like that. What are they? What's happening with Chelsea? And are they in a scenario where are they bottling top 4? And there's a comment from Alexander Hilton about that. Cheers, Alex, for the comment. It does feel like they are, doesn't it?
It does. It's way closer than anybody would have thought it would be. Chelsea v Wolves is a big one in my world anyway, because City play Wolves tomorrow, we play Chelsea next. But in the bigger picture, like, they have to be careful. They're playing Leeds tomorrow, but they're probably going to want to rest a few players for the FA Cup final. Leeds are fighting for their life. I don't rate Leeds right now anyway, so they might have any other team and they could have had a tougher game. And then luckily for them, Arsenal and Tottenham are playing each other, so they both can't get maximum points.
Yeah, they may get away with it because of that North London derby being at the end of the season instead of when it was supposed to be.
Yeah, but they are bottling it at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I still expect him to come top 4. I still expect him to come 3rd, actually, but I wouldn't be completely surprised. Like, they're playing tomorrow, and then obviously they're not playing on the weekend, which means they'll play the makeup game on like next Wednesday or Thursday.
Midweek, yeah.
And they play Leicester, which isn't
not an easy game.
Yeah, then they've got Watford on the last day of the season, which is a gimme. So yeah, I think they'll survive because they're playing Leeds and Watford, but like, they made it way tougher than they needed.
They have, they've put themselves in a conversation they shouldn't have been in when it comes to getting into that automatic top 4 spot. Speaking of Watford lose to Crystal Palace 1-0. Not a lot to talk about here, guys. Watford going down, Palace are crap. Next game though, this is a pretty exciting one to talk about. Brighton Hove Albion smash up. I wish we had a United supporter with us right now because I really want to take the piss out of both of them. Where are they? I don't know.
Where are they?
I see crickets in there. We just should,
They didn't even make a 5 things about them. Like, I know, it's very interesting.
Connie and Paul both avoiding this result. One of the worst results for Man United in their recent history since Ferguson has no longer been there. If it may even be their worst result, losing 4-0 away from home to Brighton. And not even just losing, getting smashed. Like, Brighton were so much better than them. The scoreline tells the story, but it could have been more. Like that's how bad it was.
They have now
JP?
conceded as many 4-0 losses this season as Norwich.
That's a great stat. That's a great stat.
They have the lowest points tally since 1991.
Yeah, that says it right there. I mean, it is so poor from United. They bring in a interim manager in Ragnick who's not really done. He's not really managed this team. They don't trust him.
Why should he? He should let them unravel
Yeah,
because then
sure.
everybody sees what the truth is.
I know, but there's only so much you want to let something unravel before it becomes problematic to the spirit of the club. I think that's the case. I think it's harder to come back. Maybe I'm wrong. Azaz, I'd love to know what your thoughts as well are on that. But for a team to fall down as badly as United have and to continuously trip over and over again, Man United in the mud, Alexander, absolutely. That's literally they're just soaked in it at the moment, and it's piss poor. But Azaz, what are your thoughts on this type of loss and what it means for where United are?
It's not really where they are. Like they're on the beach. They've down tool, thrown in the towel, whatever it is. It's pathetic. It is pathetic, but I don't think it's necessarily a true reflection of. I mean, it still counts. Don't get me wrong. Like Brighton have got a 4-0. That stat that JP just threw out it stands. That will stand forever in history. I don't think Man United are quite this bad. And I also think Ragnick has to take some of the heat as well. Like he has been an epic flop as well.
Failure, like to the point of like not remotely galvanizing a team in any way. In fact, probably making it worse. Rather than some sort of manager bounce. They haven't gotten any of it. So it's been a rough watch and obviously a joy for us who are Man United fans.
It's great to see
for Connie and Paul. Paul was on the beach with him. We haven't seen Paul on the channel and it's been a while. He does the graphics for us. He's barely contributing.
Great graphics, man.
Great graphics, Paul.
He is hitting above his weight while United are literally a rock in the ocean.
He is not inspired by Ragnick either. He's doing it on his own. He's gone. He's not down tools. Thanks for that, Paul. But you guys need to get on here so we can take the piss because it's not nearly as much fun without you when this is happening. So.
By the way, I got to.
Did we say 4-0? 4-0 Brighton? I think it was 4-0 Brighton. Sorry, go ahead, JP.
Shout out to a buddy just messaged me mid video sending us a picture of our stream. So Connor Flynn, baby, thanks for tuning in, Maddie.
Cheers, Connor. Get in the comments and say hello.
He's on his TV. He's watching his.
Just get on your phone and get in the comments.
I know, right?
It's not rocket surgery, buddy.
Yeah, come on, Connor.
All right, we're not gonna skip this game because we're gonna go through these and then we'll talk about it in other circumstances. As you and I we did on Tottenham on Tour, we did a show specific to Liverpool Spurs at Anfield. Finishes 1-1. Very, very good game of football. Massive tactical battle. Of course, there were comments made by Klopp at the end of the game that he's come out and sort of reneged on a little bit, and for good reason. I think probably speaking passionately, which managers are going to do. Disappointed that he didn't get the run of the green, despite the fact that I think, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this now post game, that Spurs deserve to win that game, arguably based on the way the game was played. I know you had way more of the ball, but from chances created and quality chances created, and what it felt like should happen in that game, other than the deflected goal that you guys scored. I thought Spurs did what they needed to do to beat a Liverpool side that's literally the only way you're going to get a result out of them is to do what we just did. What are your thoughts on it? I'm very curious. I'm waiting for this conversation.
I thought Tottenham played their game plan perfectly. I think we're exhausted, to be honest with you. Like I feel
you saw that today.
Yeah, like we're exhausted. So, if a team as good as Tottenham can't deserve to beat us, so to speak, regardless of what tactics they play, with how much football our team has in the legs, then there would be something wrong in that. Like Tottenham are arguably, we said this last week, like I have Tottenham as the fourth best team in the league now.
In 2022, the third best, statistically speaking.
100. We said exactly that. So we've got obviously Mo Salah's not on form. Like Trent's had a couple of games where he just looks like he's like leggy, and Robbo was leggy on Saturday as well. Yeah, like I mean,
you're in four competitions still,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we're in one. So I
Yeah,
mean, I'm gonna
I
take
mean,
it. I'm gonna enjoy it, but I get that
agreed, agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, like I have no issues with the result. I have no issues with how Tottenham played. They're allowed to play however you want to play. It's up to us
Football.
to break it down. I mean, not going for it could cost them the top four. That's one way of looking
I
at
think
it.
we did go for it. I think if we go for it, we get killed. I think we go for it, and Liverpool do what Liverpool do to teams that are open.
It was a game plan, right?
Yeah,
You
the
guys
game plan
kinda
was
set
to
it
sit
up.
deep, soak it up, and then counterattack. And we did that really well. And we, that was always going to be the only way, like I said, to get a result against Liverpool is to you play into Liverpool's style and you go at them the same way they come at you. You get slaughtered. That's there's evidence across the entire season that that's the case. It happens with City as well. Two teams that are at the top of their game, very good managers with a very specific way of playing with a high line. If you try to compete with that line, you're going to get destroyed. And there was any good manager, and Conte, as we know, is a very good manager, isn't going to try that with the squad we have. Maybe next season you might see it a bit different game with some new players coming in and a system change and some depth in our squad. But with our team, there's no fucking way we were going to try to compete with Liverpool. But good game though. I enjoyed it. There was some controversial moments. The elbow on Sonny from Fernandinho, which I think should have been a yellow card. I think he should have been sent off. Probably 4 or 5 times he fouled some pretty ugly fouls. We were talking about this. JP, we were talking about this before you got here. I know, and I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm very much into skepticism. I don't buy into conspiracy thinking very much, but it seems to me there's a bias at the very least of referees in these situations when there's potentially a title challenge on, where there's calls aren't being given that are blatantly obvious that should be given and would be given in any other circumstance. Are we being whingy and just sort of like complaining because we didn't get what we want, or do you see it as well? Like, be honest with yourself.
Yeah, no. I mean, arguably, the season can hinge on Rodri not getting being given a penalty against Everton. Like, literally, that could be a difference between a team winning the league and not winning the league. So I think the state of official in the Premier League is just terrible. Like, I don't necessarily know the bias or see the bias, but then arguably, would I see it? I'm not.
Yeah, really, I mean, because you have your own bias.
Yeah. I know that statistically, Liverpool are middle of the table of VAR decisions, for example.
Zero penalties given against Liverpool at home this season.
No, but also like Liverpool are mid-table.
No, I know.
Yeah. Liverpool. So listen, Liverpool are 0 penalties given against them at home this season. I actually just pulled out the stats from Saturday. It wasn't that even, man. It wasn't like 65% possession, 22 shots. So
but look at the XG. Look at the XG, and the XG is basically even. But that's what I said. It was even, but the quality of the chances. The only set I said that was different was the quality of the chances. We hit the post once. There was a couple other chances that are like that last chance at the end of the game where Højbjerg heads 100%. It backwards. I mean, that was nuts. Those chances are chances that win you the game. Liverpool put the ball in the box a lot. There was a shit ton of block shots, and I don't think the quality of chances that Liverpool had were remotely as good as Spurs. And that's where the difference was for me. But otherwise, I think it's a very even game.
I'm saying it more in the context of Tottenham, even a team that could have got a result at Anfield had that much or little possession against Liverpool in their box or in their area. So you're arguably not gonna get penalties. Like nobody.
Oh, in that sense,
nobody
for sure.
attacks us at Anfield. Like everybody plays dead. Like even Chelsea played dead against us, even before they had 10 men. Man City are literally the only team that came and played us toe to toe. And again, that's that. But what the stat that I'm talking about is, and I can put it in the comments below once this is on YouTube. We are middle of the table of VAR decisions for and against in the overturns. So
hold on.
JP's dying because he watched the game today and had some issues. So get in there, JP.
It's not just PKs and VAR results that top teams get over lower half table teams. It's the simple nigging. It's the yellow card here or there where a Villa player or a Crystal Palace or a Norwich player, they do something and they get a yellow. But a similar thing happens to and I'm going to say it blatantly, a top 6 team, and they won't get a yellow. And I think that is the biggest thing that I see. And I'm not saying that this is a conspiracy. I'm saying this fucking happens. And I'm saying this is the reality. And that is top teams get away with more. And Brian, I'm counting you up there too. I'm counting, man, I'm counting. I don't give a shit.
What do we get away with, man? Come on.
You guys get away with shit too all the time.
What are you watching?
So I just posted. So I just posted something in the thread here.
Yeah,
it's like if you get a chance, have a look at that.
Check out the little link in the chat there, folks, and hop on there and check out. It's interesting, and again, it is conspiracy unless you have data to support your argument. Otherwise, you're pulling, you're pulling things out of the air to say I've seen this, and it's an anecdotal experience of what you've watched.
Azaz, did you see the Twitter link that Luke Connolly posted on the foul that Liverpool got? That was you stepping on Douglas Luiz
today.
Yes, right after the game.
No, I didn't see that, but I've seen penalties given against us for stuff that like other teams get and don't get.
It happens across the board. This is my point. In measuring it, of course, emotionally speaking.
I'll have a look,
guys.
I will have a look.
Yeah, just bring it up and share it. I can share it. I can show it on screen if you guys want to see.
Oh yeah,
it.
you should do it.
It's not.
These are kind of the things I'm talking about. I'm not talking about far calls. I'm not talking about like the ones that take the 3 minutes for the fans and the refs to make a decision. I'm talking about these calls right here. These are the ones, and this was given to Liverpool.
Ridiculous.
He's
clearly gets stepped on. Like that's not even close.
Yeah. That's a terrible decision. But
right.
I don't know if it's hard to say because like we watching Liverpool week in, week out, we have annoying decisions against
right.
And that's what I'm getting to, trying to get at here is we can have a conversation about this forever and there's no point in it. It's an emotional, anecdotal thing that happened to your club and you're always going to be emotionally responsive to it because you didn't get the thing that was good for your club. But there is data to support much of what you're talking about, Azaz, which is the, where do they fit in the VAR decisions, in how many calls are being called in certain circumstances. Those are all demonstrable and measurable, and we can look at them all, and they still don't tell the story of a bias of a referee. That
I'm literally, without making the North End get
a referee
for defamation or something. I'm literally saying that the statistics about Mo Salah are insane. Like it's he's not on the graph. Like basically the graph is minutes.
He hasn't been on the graph all year, dude. He just came back to the graph like 2 months ago when he stopped scoring. So I'm stoked he's back on the graph. He needs to chill out a little bit.
Yeah. No. I'm talking.
You're talking about something else there, JP.
Graph,
I know he is.
So the graph is minutes per foul and attacking touches per 90 minutes. Everybody's in a bunch. So arguably, the more touches you have per 90 minutes, the more you are fouled. Of course, it makes sense. It's all a bit of a
they're going to the statistics are useful until they aren't, which often is the case when it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story because there's other aspects of a scenario that takes place on a football pitch that aren't measurable necessarily the same way as you can say an XG or percentage of how long they had the ball for or how many attacks they've had. Some of those things, the eye test can sometimes be more accurate than some of the data, but you take them all and you try to make a decision based on that. We got to move on though.
Yeah, we got to get past.
Spent a lot of time on this, so I'm gonna move past it. Arsenal on Sunday hosted Leeds.
That
Arsenal
wasn't even an implosion by Leeds. That was like
it was a shambles moment.
They just saw red for like 20 minutes. Leeds just lost the plot.
Awkward game here too is that the first goal that Arsenal scored was a gift from the keeper. Just totally shit the bed. Gave him the ball. Here you go.
I don't
1-0 up
at all.
It was really, really strange.
He does that stuff all the time, though.
He does.
He gives up shitty goals like that.
It's in his game for sure. Leeds go down to 10 men at the beginning of the second half, or was it the beginning or end of the first? Either way, halfway through the game,
just a straight red.
It should have been a straight red. Leeds, though, despite being down to 2-0 down and down to 10 men, still managed to get a goal back on a dead ball. Arsenal, not like, I don't know, like this is maybe my bias because I'm obviously a rival of theirs. I don't think they played very well in this game. I'm not saying they don't deserve the win because they got it, and I think when you win at all costs, you deserve the win. I think it's a strange thing to say as somebody doesn't deserve it, but in this game they didn't play very well and they got the win anyways. Thoughts on Arsenal Leeds, Azaz?
I completely agree with you. I don't think Arsenal have played well for a while, to be honest with you. I think
they've gotten lucky.
Yeah, they've gotten lucky, and plus, they've just been doing enough. Actually, have to say as well, like Nketiah has stepped up for them in the last couple of weeks. Like I never saw that.
His first goal though was not a good goal. The second one was. The second one was.
They all count though, right? Like at this point,
I know. Of course,
if they were to get into the top four, like
he also put the pressure on to make that happen. So you give him credit for that.
100%.
Yeah.
They also played a team who is just like a bit of a disaster as well, right? Like I feel like the whole Leeds thing it's almost sad in a way because they came in the Premier League last season. They were a breath of fresh air, stuck to the principles. This year it wasn't particularly working out, and obviously their goal difference meant like they were in a pretty bad position. Even if the points weren't saying it, the goal difference was telling a different story, that like there's a massive problem here. But when you take a risk like that,
they got destroyed with injuries. The first
I've been
6 months
harping this drum for months that they not only do they get hit by injuries, there's no depth there, right? What's his name? Bielsa was like, I got 15 guys and I don't need a single one more. And he didn't recruit enough. The club did not recruit enough. The club played the same style of game. Doesn't matter if they had 17-year-olds in. They never changed. And it was everyone knew what it was after 4 weeks last season. They didn't make any adjustments. This is a team that's literally shot themselves over and over and over again. I have no sympathy for them.
Hard to argue with that for sure. Let's keep it rolling here, guys. We got Leicester hosting Everton. Massive win. 2 in a row for Everton. First time 2 in a row on the road, I should say. First time winning 2 in a row on the road. And then, of course, they beat Chelsea the week prior. Really, Everton, Lampard doing a job. I didn't, JP, I'm going to go to you first on this. You and I both, we have to admit our flaw in our argument, or at least our flaw, the result of the flaw. The argument.
Yeah, totally. Like
Everton have done a job here. They've also relied on Leeds being as crap as they've been, and Burnley struggling as well. But Everton looking like the part again, like they don't want to go down desperately. And
I'm going to say yes and no to that. I really believed Everton were going down 100%.
So did I.
They have made some changes and they have looked good at home. But this is also playing against a Leicester team. Yeah, I know. Then they're winning away, and they did well for that. But it's 2 set-piece goals, 2 Everton goals that are like, okay, but Leicester are terrible. Absolutely, probably the worst team in the league at corners and set pieces. Yeah. And their second goal was a set piece.
But isn't that a genius thing to do? Like to
you played a team where you figured out their one niche that everybody in the league should know by now, and a Leicester team that's performed pretty poorly this season.
They haven't been very good either. Yeah.
So Everton got the win. I'm still not 100% convinced that. I mean, here's the thing: is the Chelsea win was a big shock to me, and this one I still thought Leicester should have enough. But I don't think they're anything. I don't think this is the old Everton. I don't think this is anything to write home about. I still think this is a bottom 5 team Everton.
Yeah, I'm not writing home about anything. I'm just saying they're doing enough to get out of that. They
are doing
which is what it comes down to. As this is your rival, your Liverpool hometown rival. Happy or unhappy to see them stay up. I would be disappointed if I didn't get to watch a North London derby every season, even though it's like my worst, like my most hated week because I get so stressed about it. To have my rival go down despite the joy of being able to take the piss out of them for as long as I possibly could, I would still miss that game and miss that rivalry. How do you feel about Everton staying up, and do you see them staying up?
Sorry to piss Everton fans off, but like it's not the biggest game to me. Like I spent a lot.
I know.
We're not. We recognize that.
Yeah, like I spent a lot of my time growing up in Manchester. So like being a Liverpool fan, like it's just the needle that I have with United fans is just different. Like I get if you're from Liverpool, it would be a bigger game. I think they'll survive because they've got 4 games left. 3 of them are super winnable, to be honest with you. And I mean, arguably, we just said Arsenal aren't playing well as well. So I think they're playing not in any order. I think they've got Brentford, Watford, and Palace left to play. So potentially they could pick like 5, 6, 7 points up.
Yeah, I think Brentford are the team there, they're the game there that I'd be maybe a little bit worried about just because of the quality of in the last 7 or 8 games since Eriksen's come in. They've played some pretty good football. But
so at this point, they're going to survive, in my opinion. Like I feel like it would have been funny to see them go down. I would have missed the Merseyside derby as an occasion. Like you, I hate that the day or the week of because
it's the worst. Well, this week has been terrible. We're going to get to it, but
it's Thursday, right?
I'm dying right now. Just a quick comment from Carl Simpsons says he's completely unbiased towards Leeds, but I still think Leeds will stay up. I still think Everton are banging trouble in these last 2 games. Will not make any difference. And Mina is out. Yuri Mina is a very important player for them. He is out for the remainder of the season, I believe. So that's what they're talking about there, JP. I just think Leeds have it a more difficult. I think they got to play Chelsea at the weekend, and that's not an easy game. Despite Chelsea's poor form lately, I think they're going to struggle there. So yeah, but fair point, Carl. Thanks for the comment. Next game, we got Norwich, West Ham. Not a lot to say about this. Norwich are going down. West Ham are just having a padding their goal differential for a pretty poor end of the season for them, considering where they were in the conversation for top 4 at one point and are now need to finish in Europe. That is going to be a necessity for them. So a big win for them to make sure that happens, but not a heck of a lot to talk about in this game unless you guys want to add anything.
No.
Good. That's why JP didn't even pick his head up. So now we got your rivals here. I think a few people thought, and myself included to some extent, I didn't think that City would struggle here, but I did think that it would be harder for them. But they came out and responded very well to that loss to Real Madrid midweek in the Champions League and smashed Newcastle 5-0. Pretty comfortable for them. Some really, really good goals in this game. But Newcastle, once they were 2-0 down, didn't really offer much of anything anyway, so it just is sort of what you'd expect. Any thoughts, guys, on the Man City retaking the lead at the top of the table?
Yeah, I don't have much about them retaking the top of the table because they bought the league 10 years ago and fuck off City. But it's interesting that I've heard a lot of places where people finally said that this was Jack Grealish's big first game. Like this was his first game where he actually looked like the complete player again. He actually looked like what they thought Jack of old looked like.
He had some moments for sure.
He had some moments. He had one moment where he just takes the ball down out of the air. He beats Newcastle's right back, gets around him. Trippier, who's coming back from injury, he then lays it off.
Skinned him pretty bad. Yeah.
He drilled him, and he did what he always does. And to me, it's just crazy that you can buy a player for $100 million and wait till fucking May for him to play well. It's insane that is the case. But
it's what we get with state-owned clubs, guys. What we get with state-owned clubs.
They've throttled Newcastle. Yeah, and I'm gonna sing to the highest fucking chords I can that state-owned clubs should be fucking banned. So I'm so furious at that.
Yeah. Has anything to add to that?
I mean, I never thought they were dropping a point at the Etihad, to be honest with you. Like the games that have come in the last couple of weeks, there was Brighton a few weeks ago. This one, like to me, the games that have been away from home, I was always thinking that there was more chance. I mean, they're about to play. I know we're going to get into this. They're about to play Wolves and West Ham back to back. So that was one of the things I was going to say on the last game, Norwich versus West Ham. I'm kind of glad West Ham had a bit of their mojo, even if Norwich are crap.
Yeah, maybe it motivates them a little bit, right? To be
a little bit. But yeah, no, I give City credit. Like it was devastating what happened to them for the last 90 minutes in injury time and then extra time. Like that's a big body blow to come back from, and a lot of people implied that they would be sulking and like there would be a bit of a hangover.
How are they going to handle that? Yeah.
But to come out and do it the way they did, credit to them. But like I mean, again, I don't think that I never thought that was going to be a potential banana skin or anything. Like, am I going to be hopeful watching tomorrow? Yeah, because it's like away from home, Wolves are tricky, blah blah blah.
You need whatever you can get to stay in the conversation, which makes sense.
I didn't even watch it on Sunday. I was just like, yeah, this is a City win.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of potential banana skins that unfortunately didn't happen that way. Today's game, Liverpool beating Aston Villa at Villa Park 2-1. I thought Villa were up for it. Started the game very, very well. I'm going to let you guys have a quick chat. I'm going to step out for one moment, have at it, lads.
You want to go first?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to go first. I thought Villa played really well, to be honest. I'm not sure if that was the standard of Aston Villa overall, because obviously I don't watch him week in, week out. I try and watch him here and there, and I obviously watch all the highlights and stuff, but just watching the North End and having kept up with your reviews of Villa and the ups and downs and stuff, I thought it was a fantastic performance by Villa. I think one of the things that was really obvious from our side again is Liverpool are tired. Liverpool are really tired. They're exhausted. I thought there was 45 to 60 in the second half. Liverpool played at probably their usual standard minus a couple of percentage points. But otherwise, from the first minute to the 45th minute, and then from after Mane's goal, Liverpool didn't do anything special. They were not the swashbuckling team of Liverpool from other points of this season, but it ends up being a bit of a results business. And I kind of feel like it was competitive, it was niggly, it was a bit of a classic Premier League, neither team giving an inch to the other team. But I thought Villa played really well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think Villa were better than normal. I don't think we were great by any means. I think we were better than normal. I thought Liverpool definitely looked like they took the foot off the gas, but kept the ball. So it was every time that we got the ball, they wanted the ball, and they would give that extra 10% to get the ball. And then as soon as they got the ball, they would be like, all right, let's go back to 85%. Especially like you said, from about the 20th minute to about the 45th, I thought you took the gas off, and then there's a period near the end of the match, probably the last 20 minutes. I felt like you guys took the gas off a little bit. You started to get a little gapped. Danny Ings was kind of finding little pockets of space here and there if he could just fucking stay on sides. But to me, it was the first 10 minutes were unreal. The first 10 minutes were great to that match. I thought it was fun to watch. I was sitting in my classroom and my kids were working, and I was going crazy just with hand motions. I couldn't.
Do they know we are watching, by the way, when you're in class? Do they know what's happening?
Most of them do not.
Okay.
Most of them do not. I'm just sitting there. Some of them know because they one kid sits at an angle that he can kind of see. Sometimes one of the soccer boys will come and sit next to me while I watch for 5 minutes. I only get 5 to 10 minutes that overlap, so it's nice because my lunch break happens and then I can watch the game. But it's so hard for Villa to play against 12 men. John Moss was just fucking terrible. I am unleashed on the F-bombs today, but man, he was atrocious. That was, I mean, apparently it's his final year, and good riddance, man. He shouldn't ref another game after that one. He was just so poor. I thought there was a few chances you guys had that were just clearly better chances. Mane had one or two chances that were really good. I think it was Keita where the ball came off and he scuffed it and it stayed between his feet. Yeah, he just completely whiffed the ball. I thought there was one or two that we got in good positions and we didn't do quite enough. There's a corner play set piece that we played it back, and then McGinn crossed it in and Ings got across and he kind of sailed it over instead of just a glancing header. Douglas Luiz had a really nice goal and the day after his birthday, but I don't think he signed a new contract, so he would look great at Liverpool. Douglas Luiz, that 8 we have, I think he'd be perfect for you guys. But yeah, I was happy with the Villa play. I was happy in the end with the score line because I'm like, all right, it's Liverpool. We're probably going to lose anyways. But watching the match, I was like, shit, we could have nicked a draw there. We could have nicked a draw. It could have been close. At the dying ends of the match, I thought there was one or two like slip-ins where we need to be on sides. We were just off. It's just okay. Let's get to the summer. Let's get into 10th place and let's regroup this summer. I was happy Liverpool didn't turn us over, which I know they could.
Now, quickly hop on over to the channel and watch the Luke acting as the director of football.
Yes,
to determine what you guys need through the summer when it comes to ins and outs. And
I was on that one too.
And I was literally going to say that. And JP makes a guest appearance as a fan, despite being part of the channel.
Yeah.
It's a fun watch. Even if you're not a Villa fan, there's some good stuff there. It's good content and interesting to get the inside look at what you
can't
you
wait
guys
to get
think of.
Zaz to do it.
Yeah,
where's the Liverpool one?
It's
coming. I've actually done my Spurs one. I've got all of my numbers all together and everything. I did that today, so pretty excited about the Spurs one as well. So look for that. Anything else as you wanted to add to this game, or any thoughts on it? Or do we want to move on?
The one thing I just wanted to add is I was not impressed with Coutinho. Like, I'm not just being a salty Liverpool fan.
Okay,
like
back to the match now. Let's go back to this one.
I feel like.
I actually thought he played better in this match than he has the last probably 5 or 6 matches. He got benched. He got benched last game for Eddie Buendia, who came in and actually had an insane performance. I can't believe he was dropped. But I think Steven Gerrard was hoping, playing against Liverpool, playing at home, and Coutinho is so much better at home right now for Villa. I really thought Steven Gerrard believed he was going to make something happen. He didn't create a goal. He didn't make anything, but I felt like he was our outlet pass quite a bit from our midfield or from our defense. Like, okay, let's find him and let's move off him. And I felt like he did well in that standpoint. He just doesn't, to me, he's been really lacking getting into the opponent's box. Which is what he needs to do, right? He needs to be that late run in the box.
Which he did early when he first came in. He scored some goals in that, and I was surprised, but that's the case. Okay, well let's get on. Let's get on to this one. If you might move your head to the side there, JP. Sorry about the.
Well, speaking of Coutinho,
yes, exactly. I thought it was a good time to move into. We'll talk a bit of transfers before we get into the previews, folks. So this is one of the potential transfers. But tell us, JP, where is this at?
Well, Fabrizio Romano has pretty much stated that the deal is literally wrapping up right now. I have it on very good confirmation that it's like crossing the D's, dotting the I's. It is a done deal. Okay. And we had previously negotiated a price point of roughly between 32 to 35 million pounds for Coutinho at the end of the season. But Villa pretty much came back a month ago and said, we ain't paying it. We're not going to do it. And the wages are pretty high. And from what I understand from my few sources, he is not breaking the ceiling. He is not going to be our highest earner. So he's dropped his wages significally. He was at like 450, 500,000 a week at Barcelona.
Totally.
No wonder why they had no money.
What a mess.
So he's going like all the way down to like 140, 150. I think Danny Ings is like the only guy up there with him. And then not only that, they've agreed to what I believe is 22 million pounds to 24 million pounds, which is 10 million pounds cheaper. And at that rate, Villa should do that. I was very much against paying the full price, but getting this deal done, and they have like a 50% add-on fee, sell-on fee, I'm super down. Hopefully it's crossing the D, dotting the I's. I'll take him. Good early summer business done.
I think it's a good signing. I think at that price and at that wage, it's a good signing. I think if you were paying the money that that he was getting, at Barcelona, it would be absurd. It would be bad business for you guys. Like, why would you put that on your wage bill, and then why would you pay back that much money for a player like Azaz has just mentioned, who he has his moments, but he hasn't been the level that you kind of would hope. Now, to be fair,
good. He's not great.
Exactly. And I think you surround him though with better players. His quality comes out, right? And I think you see that especially with playmakers. You need players to be making the right runs. You need them to be off the ball better. You need them to have better football brains. In Aston Villa currently in that squad, there aren't a lot of players that do that. And I think that he's missing that sort of working with some of the goals he scored or some of the goals he was involved in earlier in the season. There was great build-up play, good one-touch football inside and just outside the box. You're not seeing that from Villa right now. And when that doesn't happen, he can go missing. And he looks missing when he's walking around on the pitch and not really doing much with the ball.
To be fair, he's never going to look spectacular against the Liverpool team who has 60% possession in the game.
Sure.
You know, it's going to be very hard for him to sprinkle on his fairy dust and his magic toes when we fucking don't have the ball.
It's not apples to apples, but I did think Buendia looked good when he came on the ball again. We were even more tired.
Why can't they play together? Is that a position thing, JP?
That's a Steven Gerrard thing.
Okay,
and that is something.
Doesn't Buendia play? I thought Buendia played off the right.
He does. He used to play off the right, but Steven Gerrard has pretty much said no. These are both our 10s, and he has not. He's played them once together at the same time. And then he never, and honestly, they didn't play that bad. And then he never did it, or he did it once or twice, and he never did it again. He hasn't done it for about 8 games now.
Aren't you playing a front three though? Could you not do like a Watkins?
We're playing a front three, but it's 2 strikers. It's Watkins, Ings, and Coutinho, or it's Watkins, Ings, and Buendia. Yeah, it's almost like a 4-4-2 diamond, which is what we played today.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, anything to add to that, lads? Or there's a couple of things I wanted to get to. Sorry for your face again, JP. Nice when you're already in the right place there. Chelsea, massive situation with their players out of contract. There's a number of them. Obviously, Rudiger being the one on screen right there. That JP is biting his ass.
Eating his butt.
Chelsea in a big situation, not just with obviously their defense and many of those players' contracts running out and wanting to move on, but I would imagine with the way the state the club's in and what they're going through currently, that this, as well as like losing all their defenders, as well as the situation with the ownership, which has been resolved, by the way, but resolved in a sense that they have a likely new owner, but it's not an owner that is going to remotely be close to what Abramovich was when it comes to spending is concerned. So you're going to lose all these players, and then you're going to have to rebuild a squad with a bunch of people who don't know what the hell they're doing. Arguably, I mean, maybe there'll be still some people there that like Czech who will advise them on football matters and whatnot. But Azaz, your thoughts on Chelsea's state of play at the moment and what we might see in the transfer window, and are any of these players that you would want from Chelsea's defense at Liverpool?
I think they're in trouble, to be honest, in regards to, I think they have to, like literally as the table is showing at the moment, I feel like they have to watch their back rather than looking forward and chasing City and Liverpool. I think that's where Chelsea are at the moment, which is ridiculous to think about. 12 months ago, they were about to go to the Champions League.
I had them winning the league. At the beginning of this
Champions League. Yeah, honestly, mate, like I joke around with the Liverpool Supporters Club in Toronto and always take screenshots of stuff just to like banter later about.
Remember, what did you say?
Someone makes an outlandish statement or blah blah blah. I actually made a statement in November and screenshotted it just to say, let's see how this pans out. Where I said, Chelsea aren't our business. And there was people at the time saying, what do you mean? Like, it's going to be a 3-horse race. And I said, actually, I don't think so. I think either City are going to pull away or Liverpool and City will pull away. And that's just, I mean, I get predictions wrong.
I just thought Lukaku would be enough for them to do it. But the state of what's happening with them now, of course, what happened with the ownership and the war and the stuff you can't predict that isn't football related. As a club and not having these contracts sorted out and going through what they're going through now, it's a mess. And these players, there's some very good players in that defense that I would be interested in. As much as I don't like Rudiger as a human being, he's a very good player. I really like him as a player, but I don't like him very much at all.
Can I jump in a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
I honestly, while I don't think they're going to be pushing for a Premier League title, I also don't think they're going to be as bad off as you might make it seem. As I feel like their production line that they have just drilled down. I mean, Chelsea youth system is pretty on point, and their loan system that they coincide together is really good.
But the money is gone.
Not all of the money that is gone. When you're making players like Reece James, Tammy Abraham, you're making players like a Mason Mount, you're making players like Conor Gallagher.
I know there's a ton of them, JP. I know there's a ton of players, but when when you can't afford to pay them anymore, or you decide you don't want to afford to pay them anymore, and your complete structure changes in the middle of a transfer window, and you then have to adjust to how many. I don't know the numbers. I wish Paul was here because he gave us the graphic.
Make the adjustment a lot better.
But youth players don't fix world-class players who won Champions Leagues. You just don't. You're going backwards. My point is, JP, I'm not saying that they're going to go down or they're going to be, suffering, lower mid-table or something. I'm just saying they're no longer in the conversation of the top 3 or being in the race for a title. Arguably, they put themselves in a position where Man United are and where Spurs and Arsenal are, depending on where, how well they're playing that season. That's
I was saying they were not in the title, but I also don't think they're in the Man U position. I think they're already better off than Man U because they're making better talent than Man U is. That's my difference maker.
Sure.
So Reece James will be right back. I don't think if Azpilicueta leaves, I don't think they've got like a cover.
And Christensen's leaving, right?
Christensen's leaving.
Christensen, Rudiger, and his
Azpilicueta. So it'd be Reece James right back, Chilwell left back, Thiago Silva, who's a year older.
They have a really good center back in the youth academy that's ready to make a jump. Then you got Billy Gilmore who's coming in. You still have Conte. You still have some good center mid players.
Conte's done though, man.
I was specifically talking about the defense. They need to buy at least like
2 center halves,
2 center backs,
2 very good center halves.
A club like Chelsea should still be able to.
Youth players aren't going to be good enough if they're going to compete.
Center backs right now they're frozen, but by the summer I still believe they will have enough to buy 2 center backs.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I obviously love the demise of clubs that I hate, and Chelsea is one of them at the top of the list, right next to Arsenal. So if Chelsea fall apart to some extent and don't get to enjoy the what comes with being owned by a shitty owner that they've been able to do for as long as they have, and sort of ruin football. They're the ones who started it in England to some extent. So I want to see them fall to some extent. So it'll be fun when that happens. Massive. Sadly, speaking of owners that have too much money, this deal has been done. Sorry, JP. By Manchester City. It's been all over the Twitter today and the internet today. Haaland has moved to Manchester City for a pretty reasonable fee. I think it was 50 million, if I'm not mistaken, or
60 million pounds.
Yeah, around there. Pretty reasonable price.
Someone just dropped that it was 85 million total because it was like 25 in legal fees and
there's other things involved
and stuff like that. So it's about 85 million total.
80-ish, and Borussia Dortmund have received 60. So it's an 80 million.
Yes, exactly. So there's money that goes to different places.
Yeah, like all this time we've always been talking about the amount that a club has paid out. Now suddenly we're talking about what Borussia received.
It's convenient.
And then like later in the article it says the total fee is 85 because agents that's always been
the number we look at. Yeah. And the wages, right? So is the wage bill he's on, I think he's going to get 400 grand a week, just under what De Bruyne is making. So that that's where the money arguably is where what for him anyway, that what he's getting from the wage bill. I want to ask you both this question. We spoke about it earlier on our podcast. On a different podcast, what does he bring to Man City? In how is it going to help them, or is it going to hinder them? And this was my point, and of course I could be completely wrong, and I probably will be, but I see him much like a Lukaku signing, in that I don't think he suits Man City's setup at all in the way they play football. And that. Again, like maybe insane to some people, but if you watch the way they kick the ball around, their possession football, he is a runner. Plays at the top of the, on the last shoulder of the last defender. He's got a great shot on him. He's a fox in the box. Those are the types of goals he scores, like a Lukaku did at Inter before he came to Chelsea, and then ended up being shit. Now, I don't think he's going to be shit. I think he's going to still score goals, more so than what happened with Lukaku, because of his physicality and his size. I think he has attributes that Lukaku doesn't, that will get him still playing a lot and scoring goals. But I think he'll be much like what we've seen with Grealish, arguably, in that he'll spend a lot of money on him and he'll play a little bit here and he'll play a little bit there, but he's not going to be a Sergio Aguero remotely close to that and replacing a striker that, arguably the best that the Premier League has ever seen.
So I'll go first on this. I see it going one of two ways. Number one is, I was going to use the comparison of Grealish and not Lukaku, which is the player changes. So, Grealish spent 20 years at as a bit of a dribbler, ball carrier, talisman, etc. And then he gets transferred to Manchester City, and
totally
now
different.
he has to be one of the in the cog, and he's having to pass more than he used to, like share the possession, not necessarily be that go-to guy and stuff. So that's one option. I think that Pep might see if he can change his way,
or have a different way of playing sometimes, which
so that
may
was
be
my
the case.
option too. So option two would be City have to change their system a little bit to accommodate him. It has to be one or the other. I don't think he slots into this system just like that. I think net they will be up because he's a world-class player and he's going to be a huge.
He's going to score goals for them for sure. 100%. He's going to get set up a million times over.
He's going to bang them in. City are more dangerous. City are a better team because of him. But I do think it will have some teething problems, particularly early on while they make that adjustment. Is he going to be expected to change, or is the team going to be expected to change? I don't think it's like a copy and paste, like you take out what was Aguero, or recently Gabriel Jesus has been playing pretty well. Like
he's been quite good, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it's like you take him out and that one of those two out and you just put Haaland in and you go. I don't think it's quite like that. Like he doesn't come.
It's not a like for like, essentially. Right?
He doesn't link up. He doesn't play the intricate passes, but he's unstoppable. Like 80% of Premier League defenders ain't gonna want any of that, and I saw I've joked about it with Van Dijk before as a player, but like that physicality that he's gonna bring, people don't want any of that. So,
and that I think I was talking about attributes.
Monster.
Yeah, I was talking about attributes. He has like Premier League attributes, and that is size and power and pace. He's got that, and that it is a very direct league in a sense where a lot of the teams play with that type of player. Although that's changing quite a bit, but I think he will give a dimension to City that they currently don't have, that if they need in certain scenarios, or if they want to in certain scenarios, change it up, he's going to give them that different option. JP, thoughts on Haaland?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you guys this guy is like what, 85 goals in 88 games, and you guys are saying he's not going to fit at a Man City who create challenges like fucking dollar bills at a strip club.
It's a different league, different.
I get that it is a different league, 100%, but this guy.
I think we're just hopeful, JP.
I think you're hopeful because I think this is giving Man City the title for the next 3 years.
I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I get why people say that. I think assuming that a team's going to adjust that way and win the title, it's the hardest thing to do in football.
Does Man City win the title with Kane?
Yes, but Kane fits into the system.
Kane easily fits into the system.
Slots right in.
But Man City is also better coached, better players. And I feel like
that doesn't necessarily change whether a player is going to fit into a system or not.
I feel like they have more than enough to overcome him not necessarily having the know-how right off the bat. I think by the end of next year, he's going to be fucking destroying. I think it'll be a steep learning curve for 3 to 5 months. But after that, he's young enough. He's good enough. He's fast enough. He's big enough. He has all the attributes EPL loves. He's going. He's going to do just fine. I'm going to say he gets more than 23 goals next season.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with what they have.
I'm always loony
with what they have going forward. Obviously, they have so much creativity that he just needs to get on the end of what they already do. That's magical and be the one that finishes it. I mean, if you think about how often Sterling gets on the end of balls and skies it over the net, if you replace Sterling with Haaland, you've got a player who's going to arguably double his goal output, which is still
or just put him on the same field and let Sterling also get the ball to him.
Sterling's probably coming to the end of his tenure there. Well, I mean, that's a part of the transfer show over the summer, but there's rumors of that coming out that he might be moving on. But I mean, that would be that you switch those two players and you're getting a much better version of what Sterling can do, and one that is more clinical and more physical and offers.
Things have happened though, like you have United as the second place team, and then they buy Sancho, Varane, and Ronaldo, and they might end up like 7th.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work.
I feel that City are going to be like overall, City will be in a better position, but I don't know if it necessarily means that they run away with the title. Like much easier than right now, because like we only have to play them twice, right? Like I feel like Liverpool.
Do you think Newcastle are winning the title in the next 15 years? Yes or no? Straight up.
No.
Okay. So I feel like, and this is me being a pessimist, and I feel like this is you being an optimist. I think you've just like, oh no, everything's good, everything's roses, when you have to realize that they have $220 billion waiting to spend. That club's going to just blow up. It's going to be City and Newcastle in 7 years. And so this is just them buying one of the best players in the market.
But you're literally, JP, you're having this argument with somebody who doesn't have the business model with Azaz when it comes to Liverpool, who is competing with that team, season in, season out in all competitions. So the money works, but you can do it other ways, and we're seeing that with other teams. So it isn't necessarily set in stone. You have to use your money well, and it took how long? Was it 5 seasons, 6 seasons before City won the league? It doesn't happen immediately, and that was at a time when they were the second team to do it. Now there's Chelsea still there with a ton of money. Liverpool are going to have a shit ton of money. Spurs are coming in with Conte, going to start spending. There's going to be a lot of spending with a lot of teams.
No, they're not. Conte's leaving. It's fine.
You're just fishing.
Let's move on to the next subject.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next subject is the preview section. So,
perfect.
But yeah, it was good to talk about transfer news. Obviously, the end of the season's coming. We will be having a transfer special, many transfer specials over the summer, because that's basically all the content we have. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get into the previews. There's not a ton of them, guys. We've only got 5 games to preview. Four of them tomorrow, and then 1 on Thursday, and then we've got a bunch of games of the weekend that we're going to save for Friday. I think that was the plan anyway. It looks like that's what Paul's done here. So Wednesday being tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. our time in Eastern, Leeds hosting Chelsea. Again, we've spoken about these two teams in the reviews. Which Leeds is going to show up and which Chelsea is going to show up. I could see a 1-1 draw here, but I would expect Chelsea to win.
I would hope Chelsea has enough B team players to fill in with some of the mixed A team that are going to play.
You got a final at the weekend, right?
Yeah, you got. But the Leeds has Aileen out now. Their goalkeeper looks like he's a field player put in goalkeeper. Leeds he's
terrible.
Who's the other guy who just got injured for the season?
They're in shambles.
One of their good players. So Leeds are really struggling. I don't know, man. Flip a coin. Maybe their fans go crazy and firework off outside Chelsea's hotel. We'll see.
Is that his thoughts?
I think Chelsea have to play as they're not going to play their best team, but I think they need a result tomorrow.
They have to play a strong team. They cannot afford to drop more points.
Because if they draw or lose, then Arsenal can. I know we're going to talk about it in a few games, but
so can Spurs.
Arsenal can go above them. But if Tottenham win, they're breathing right behind Arsenal and Chelsea, right? So Chelsea
finished 5th this season.
Yeah, and do they want the FA Cup enough? Because it's different if they were in the Champions League final, because they could kind of be we'll get in.
We're in the Champions League anyway. We don't care so much.
Yeah. But the fact that it's major jeopardy at this point. So I think Chelsea will win tomorrow, because I don't think
big game though. It's a big game. It's not as simple. It's not as simple. There's a lot of pressure. They have the players to do it. They've most of these players have won the Champions League, so they should understand what they need.
Rename that? It's not the Champions League anymore. It's the Corrupt League now. We should change it that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always
bitter today. I'm super bitter today.
I know you're a miserable prick, but it's fun. It's good content. So next game, we've got Leicester hosting Norwich. Not a lot to talk about here.
Leicester wins 3-0.
Should be pretty comfortable.
Oh, I'm sorry, 3-1. They give up a corner goal.
Okay. Yeah. We've got Watford hosting Everton. Everton should get a win here. This should arguably, if Everton win as they should, make sure that they don't go down. There's a massive 3 points. It's a relatively easy 3 points. Do they falter? Watford, I just don't think so. Watford are so piss poor.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's really bad.
Nothing to really talk about there. We've got Wolves hosting Man City. Again, I think this is a Wolves side that coming off obviously a pretty big draw against Chelsea, but I think Man City just destroy them. 4-5-0. I don't think it's not even something that they should be worried about. It's pretty comfortable. Anything to add, lads?
I'm not going to give up hope. I think
another draw, and then it's back to 1 point.
No, I mean, obviously City are favourites. There's no doubt City are favourites, but I feel the Wolves and the West Ham game to me are way more potential banana skins for City, then I think I said this earlier in this show, like Brighton and Newcastle for me, because they were at home at the Etihad. I was like, do I even really need to bother watching this? I'll watch this tomorrow. Like if it becomes like a 2-0 by 40 minutes or like 3-0 by 60 minutes, like I'm happily turn it off at that point. But like, I feel like there is, if it's going to happen, it's more likely to happen away, in my opinion.
It's a good. That's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as for Wolves, like different Wolves turn up at different times. They'll be definitely inspired by their comeback against Chelsea, but can they do it 2 times in a row? Like when the second goal went in against Chelsea, I was like shit, like have they now
could have saved that, couldn't you?
Yeah, but they're also breathing down West Ham's like
there's still Europe to play for Wolves, and I was thinking, do they have anything to play for, right? And I know the Conference League is Mickey Mouse, and not most teams who have anything that they really want to play for don't want to be in that competition. Getting in the Europa League, which is 7th, right? Is it sixth Europa League? 5th and 6th Europa League, 7th Conference League. So
I think so.
Yeah, so finishing 7th isn't necessarily great. So if they can find a way to get a result of any kind and push themselves back into that Europa League conversation, I think they'd rather be there. So they're still playing for something. So it's not on the golf course necessarily, but it's gonna, it's Man City, so they're gonna be probably feeling like they don't have a hell of a lot of chance. What's that, JP?
If West Ham win their last 2 games, which I know that's really difficult, they jump United. If United like lose their last game, West Ham can still jump them. They're only behind by 3, so that'd be great.
Nice little added there. I'm a fan of that too. So Thursday night, this is the game that I think most people are going to be paying attention to this week, obviously myself included. Spurs hosting Arsenal, North London derby. First North London derby at Spurs' new stadium with a crowd. Which is going to be absolutely massive. So it's going to be very, very noisy, intense game. All to play for here now. Arsenal 4 points above Spurs at the moment. So Spurs win this, they still are a point behind and have to count on Arsenal dropping points in the last 2 games of the season. They have some tough fixtures. Arsenal, it's not going to be simple necessarily, but they are games they should win. I want your guys' thoughts on this. I've been talking about this for the entire week so far, and it's ongoing. What do you guys see happening? Either one, JP, I'll let you start. In this game, what do you think is going to happen between the two teams, and who do you think is better currently?
Currently on form, I honestly think Tottenham are better. I think Tottenham have the players that are just kind of in it right now. They're about it. The results might not have always been there for Tottenham, but I feel like they're just better. Like Arsenal, I feel like Arsenal are given a little bit of that feel like on the beach, like we're winning, but we're not playing great. So we're just going to keep this going. And you can't just, derby matches, you kind of can just turn it on. I feel like Tottenham, who I heard this on, I think it was the TIFO podcast, which is just great stuff. They literally said that Tottenham is unintentionally been put together in a way that makes them the perfect counterattacking team. And it just plays into a great game against Arsenal, who love to have the ball and like to whole team move themselves forward. And then you get, I can't say his name, Kulusevski, Kane and Son with a quick Højbjerg ball, and man, they're off to the races. And let's see what happens, man. I could see this being a really interesting, fun match. I can't wait. I think Tottenham win it 2-1.
Zaz, thoughts?
I think Tottenham are favourites. I think Tottenham are also going to win their last 2 games, which I believe are Burnley and Norwich. Is it? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
yeah.
How easy.
Yeah. So that has so if you don't count the North London derby, Tottenham are going to get onto 68 points for sure. Arsenal have Everton and Newcastle.
Yeah.
Newcastle
away.
and Everton.
Newcastle away, and then Everton.
Yeah. So
that Everton game for me is the one that will decide it.
It's going to be a tough one. I'll tell you why it's going to be tough, because Arsenal have just won 4, I believe, in a row after having a little wobble. I think Tottenham might get a bit of the medicine that they gave out on Saturday, to be honest with you. I think Arsenal are going to be...
Do you think they're going to sit deep?
I think they might do. I think they might actually...
That's what they should do. It's what they should do.
Exactly. Yeah, draw's amazing for them. Like if they end this game 4 points clear of Tottenham, then they literally just need to win one of their last two, and they've got the Champions League.
It's dangerous playing for a draw though, over a team that's desperate. So it has everything written all over it. It's a very exciting and terrifying game for me as a Spurs fan.
I think Tottenham are favourites, but I think we were favourites against Tottenham, for example.
Yeah, anything can happen. Right? I think it's the tactics, as I think you're talking about the way they'll play. Right, I'll be surprised because JP mentioned Arsenal like to play with the ball and like to play from the back, and that is true in most games. But they have played games where they have sat deep and counterattack depending on who they're playing against. If Arteta is smart and he's watched why Spurs struggle, the teams we struggle against, the Burnleys of the world, and we really struggle breaking teams down. So if you cloud up the box, you play two banks of four, and maybe even a bank of five and a bank of four and one up top, and you just wait for us to just get frustrated, you can hold us to no shots on goal, which is what happened with those two games in a row where we weren't able to do anything, and those two teams did that. So there is a blueprint to beat Spurs and to make us really uncomfortable. And I think what it'll come down to, honestly, is the management. I think Antonio Conte has won everything at the highest level, and I think he'll find a way to win this game, and I think that will be the difference in this game. Now, the other two games, you can't really predict what's going to happen with them, whether they win or lose, but I think Spurs should win this. Arsenal haven't beat Spurs at home it's probably not as long as we haven't beat them at home, but it goes back and forth. We don't do very well at their stadium and them at ours. So it's going to be very noisy. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're very young as well. I think their youth will get to them a little bit when it comes to pressure. I think we've got more players that have played in big games, not necessarily been successful in all those games, but you got Kane, Dyer, England internationals, guys who've played in the Champions League, who've been at this level before. Decky and Bentancur, who played at Juventus in the Champions League. These are players who know how to step up the game. And I don't think Arsenal have those players, and I think that'll be the difference in the game. But I'm nervous as hell, so yeah, I don't know what to say about it other than I'm terrified. I just want to win, and I want to go on and get top four. I think it'd be a great achievement considering where we were when Conte came in. I think we were sitting in ninth, and it really piss poor. So yeah, I got some comments from Bobby, who's a Spurs fan. Arsenal set up to do nothing. We have being clinical, break them down. We can do it, Coys. Yeah, Bobby. Yes, I'll be at the yard, Bobby. I think I told you I'm working until 2:30, and then I'll be driving to the yard with the game on my phone when I shouldn't be illegally.
What's the yard?
Scotland Yard. It's the home of Toronto Spurs.
Oh, okay.
It's a pub in Toronto. And Bobby says 7 games, I believe, unbeaten at home to them. Yeah, that's true, Bobby. Thanks for the statistics. Should be comfortable, but it never is in a London derby. So we'll be miserable leading up to the game, and then hopefully happy by the end of it. But that brings us to the end, lads. Absolutely fantastic show. Really good to be here with you, lads. I'm sorry the other folks couldn't show up. Anything to add before we sign off?
I apologize that I was a prick today. I'll be better next time Villa win.
Fucking asshole.
Okay.
No, you were great, JP. You were great. It's nice to have a little bit of nastiness every now and again. Zaz, great to have you back. Absolute pleasure. I'm not sure when we'll be back. Hopefully it'll be Friday. We'll be doing a bit of reviews of the NLD, and then we'll build up to the weekend if we can squeeze in, if anybody's available. But that's being put out there, so maybe the pressure's on and people will show up. But thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Have a good one.
Bye.
Later, boys.
This is the North End. This is the North End.